Rain still covered the city by morning. The skyline was hidden under low clouds. Traffic moved slowly, horns echoing in the distance. Raven stood on the pier, looking at the gray water. The cold air bit at his skin. He had not slept. The events of the night still ran through his mind. He replayed the moment the vault opened, the strange black drive, the masked man who vanished, and the words, Project Fee. Behind him, footsteps approached. It was Blaze. She carried 2 coffees and handed one to him. "You look like you have seen a ghost," she said. Raven took a sip. "I am starting to think we all did." She looked toward the water. "What was on that drive?" "Pixel is checking it now. He said it is locked with military encryption." "That is not good." "No," Raven said. "It is not." A car engine hummed nearby. Pixel stepped out holding his laptop bag. His hair was a mess and dark circles sat under his eyes. "I cracked part of it," he said. Raven raised an eyebrow. "How much?" "Enough to know it is not banking data. It is a blueprint, a very detailed one." "For what?" Pixel opened his laptop on the hood of the car. Lines of data scrolled across the screen. He zoomed in on an image, a network map. Blaze frowned. "That looks like a city grid." "It is," Pixel said. "Except it is not the whole city. It is only the underground sections. Power, transport, fiber lines, old tunnels, everything below the surface." Raven studied the map. "So someone built this. Why hide it inside a bank vault?" Pixel shook his head. "This data is not supposed to exist. The codes I found are marked under something called Malgaria Protocol." Raven looked up. "What is that?" Pixel's tone dropped. "I searched every system I could. Nothing. It is not government, not military. It is something off the record." Raven's jaw tightened. "Then someone wanted it buried." He turned away, thinking. Every heist he planned had a reason. Money, leverage, or revenge. But this was different. This felt like opening a door that should have stayed closed. Blaze broke the silence. "So what now?" Raven looked at her. "We find out who else was there last night. The man in black." Pixel nodded. "I got part of his image before the flash. I will clean it up. Do it. And find where that drive was originally stored. Someone paid a lot to keep it hidden." They packed up and left the docks. Each went in a different direction, blending into the city. By noon, Kira sat in a small cafe across from the Central Reserve Bank. Her disguise was flawless. Short hair, glasses, a plain office suit. She looked like anyone else waiting for lunch. She watched the building carefully. Police and agents moved in and out. The media had already surrounded the area, calling it a failed break-in. But Kira knew better. They were not looking for money, they were looking for the truth. A man in a gray coat sat down beside her. She did not look at him, but she recognized his voice. "Busy morning, is it not?" he said. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. "Someone who knows what you took last night." She froze for a second. Then she turned to face him. The man was calm, confident. He placed a card on the table. It had no name, only a symbol, a circle divided by 3 lines. He smiled. "Tell Raven that holding that drive will only bring death." Kira reached for the card, but the man stood up and walked away. When she looked down again, the card was gone. She pulled out her phone. "Raven, we have a problem." An hour later, the team gathered in a warehouse outside the city. Pixel projected the recovered image of the masked intruder on a wall. His face was half hidden, but his eyes were sharp and familiar. Kira arrived and tossed a note on the table. "A man gave me this. He said holding that drive means death." Raven studied the note. It was the same symbol as on the card, a circle divided by 3 lines. Pixel enlarged the image of the intruder. His mask was advanced tech, probably custom built. Facial matches unclear, but I found traces of a signal. Whoever he is, he used an encrypted comlink registered to a private security firm named Helix Dynamics. Blaze looked up. I have heard of them. They do off-the-book jobs. Protection, recovery, elimination. So he is a contractor, Raven said. Pixel nodded. And not a cheap one. Raven paced slowly across the floor. They were after the same drive. That means whoever hired them also knows about Project V. Kira crossed her arms. Maybe we should destroy it. Raven stopped. No, not until we know what it is. Pixel tapped his keyboard. There's something else. The map we found inside the drive connects to a location outside the city. An abandoned military site called Sector 9. It matches the Malgaria coordinates. Ace frowned. Sounds like a trap. Raven nodded. Probably, but it is the only lead we have. He looked around the table. Each member of the team met his eyes in silence. They had done impossible jobs before. This was different, but the rule never changed. Trust the team. Gear up, he said. We move at dusk. The sun sank behind the skyline. The city lights flickered on. The team drove out in 2 vehicles heading north. Sector 9 was 30 miles from the city, hidden behind rusted fences and overgrown roads. The place looked dead, but the closer they got, the more they felt watched. Pixel checked his scanner. No signal here. No cameras. This zone is black. Raven led the way through the broken gate. Inside, the ground was littered with old metal and glass. They passed a sign so faded it was barely readable. It said, Property of Helix Dynamics. Restricted area. Blaze tightened her grip on her weapon. So they were here. They moved through the dark halls of an old facility. The walls were cracked, the air thick with dust. Pixel's flashlight cut through the shadows. The sound of their steps echoed softly. Kira found a row of computers covered in dust. Looks like no one has been here for years. Pixel brushed off the screen and powered one up with a portable unit. The monitor flickered, showing a login page marked Malgaria Protocol Access. His eyes widened. This is it. Raven stood behind him. Can you open it? Pixel typed quickly. The system asked for a password. He bypassed the first layer, then another. Suddenly, the room lights came on by themselves. Doors locked with a heavy click. Ace swore under his breath. What did you do? Pixel stared at the screen. I think it was waiting for me. A voice echoed through the intercom. Cold, robotic. Unauthorized access detected. Termination in progress. Gas hissed from the vents. Blaze pulled her shirt over her mouth. Move, now. They ran down the corridor. Pixel yanked open a maintenance hatch and led them into an underground passage. The air was heavy, metallic. Sirens wailed above them. Raven's voice was calm. They knew we would come. This is a trap. They reached a dead end. Pixel searched the wall and found a metal door half hidden by pipes. He forced it open, and they slipped inside. The room was filled with large storage units. Old servers blinked faintly. Kira found one that was still active. A file name appeared on the screen. Project V Origin. Raven stepped closer. Open it. Pixel hesitated, then pressed enter. The screen showed a series of images, experiments, blueprints, human figures wired to machines. It was a program to create artificial intelligence for surveillance and control, designed to predict crimes before they happened. Kira gasped. This is insane. Pixel kept scrolling. At the bottom was a list of cities. Every major city in the country was marked. The system had been installed everywhere, but only one section remained incomplete. The underground network shown in the map. Raven's voice was low. So Project V was never about money. It was about power, total control. Suddenly the door burst open. Armed men in black stormed in. Helix operatives. Blaze fired first, covering the team. Ace grabbed a metal pipe and swung it at the nearest attacker. Pixel shut the laptop and threw it into a bag. Go! Raven shouted. They fought their way through the hall, dodging bullets and smoke. The facility shook from the gunfire. Raven grabbed Blaze's arm as they turned a corner. Back to the vehicles. Pixel guided them through the tunnels. They reached a service exit that led into the forest. The cold air hit their faces as they ran through the trees. Behind them, the facility burned. Flames lit the night sky. Ace looked back. That place is gone. Raven did not stop. We got what we needed. When they reached the van, Pixel connected his laptop. The files were damaged but still alive. We have partial data, enough to prove what Project 5 is. Raven looked at the glowing screen. The word Malgaria flashed again. He knew this was only the beginning. Kira sat beside him, breathing hard. Who do we give it to? Raven stared ahead at the dark road. No one. Not yet. First we find out who is running it. A message popped up on Pixel's screen. It was not from their system. The text read, "You should not have opened the vault." Pixel froze. They are in our network. The lights of the van flickered. The engine shut down by itself. Raven whispered, "Everyone out." They stepped into the dark forest, surrounded by silence. Then a faint light appeared in the distance and a single drone hovering above the trees. It scanned the group with a red beam and flew away. Raven's voice was steady. "They found us again." Pixel looked pale. "If they can track us this fast, they have access to everything." Raven turned toward the forest path. "Then we disappear." He looked at his team, tired, dirty, but alive. "We stay in the shadows. Until we end this." The rain began again, soft and steady. The van smoked in the background. Raven picked up the black drive from his pocket and looked at it one last time. The label still read, Project Phi. He closed his hand around it. "This is not a heist anymore," he said. "This is war." The team followed him into the forest as the night swallowed them whole. Somewhere far away in a room filled with monitors, a figure watched their every move. The same symbol appeared on the screen, the circle with 3 lines. The voice spoke quietly. "Activate Phase 2. The lights flickered. A new target list appeared. Raven's name was at the top.